We are broadcasting, of course, live on YouTube as well for those of you who are wanting to be on that. Okay, let's just setting up. Bear with me. I have to do this after I play the music, otherwise YouTube's not going to carry us. So we are broadcasting, of course,
All
live
right,
on
so
YouTube.
that's working.
All right, we got everything going here. We got everything going. Cool. All right, now one more thing I have to do is hit the record button and we're all set and let's go. All right, we're all ready to go here. All systems go, folks. We are going. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to DayTradeSPY.com's Weekend Review. My name is Hugh, and that's my beautiful dog Lucy there. She is now deceased for several months. Had to put her down, but I still miss her every day. Yes, you do get attached to dogs. All right, let's get started. So, brief introduction as to who we are, what we're doing here. Okay, all right. Today is Sunday, June the 1st. There's a questions box. You'll find a little icon on your Zoom dashboard. Click on that. I see a lot of people still joining us here. Guys, got to get here early. Got to get here early. All right, get online early. All right, questions box. You'll find a little icon on your Zoom dashboard. Now, I am the only one that sees that, so go ahead and say whatever you want, and we'll try and get to all the questions later on this evening. So, moving along here, I'm going to just give you a few seconds to read this disclaimer, and I will be quiet for the next 20 seconds. Okay, I think you understand what the disclaimer is all about, right? You alone are responsible for all your own trading, and past performance does not guarantee future results. All right, all that said, good trading, right? Keeps the lawyers happy. This is the final call here tonight. I'm going to give you details on the upcoming Everything We Do Masterclass training course. Give you brief details on that. Not going to get too much into that. I think you probably know already. And I'm just curious, folks. Let me know in the questions box your first time viewer here on the Sunday night session. Just tell me in the questions box if this is your first time here, or if you're new to options. Let me know that too. All right. Just curious to see who is new here and how many people here have seen this. I think most people have seen this before, and they come here because we review the last week and we look at the upcoming week and talk about different things. So let me know in the questions box if you are new to this webinar. And a special welcome for all of you. All right, just punch up the questions box. Again, you'll find a little icon on your Zoom dashboard. All right, Paul, Mr. Paul P. First time visit. Got an email. Cool, thank you. Okay, there's a few more here. First time for me. First time for everything. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. All right, so there's me alive in living color. Just looking here, the that background is real. That's um, that's the sunset. You'll see that coming down here in a little while. So and once it happens, then I'll close the blinds so you can actually see me a little bit easier here. And welcome to Tucker as well. First time for Tucker as well. All right, so what we're going to talk about here today, last week review. We're going to take a poll. Upcoming week, going to give you a 2-minute tutorial. There it is. And have a little Q&A session here. So any questions or comments, you're going to certainly answer those. And again, I'll give you some last minute details here on the upcoming masterclass live training course that is coming up. All right, so it's all going to be here. So, all right. So, of course, you probably want to know who I am, why, listen to me. What do I know? I don't know anything. I don't know anything, but at least I admit it. Nobody knows where the market's going to go. If anybody ever knows where the market's going to go, they're lying to you. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. The market is the market. The market is a compilation of the many thousands of people that are trading, that are in this arena. Nobody knows anything. We're all just playing this game, right? We just happen to be the stock market, and we're all trying to position. We're trying to posture where we should be so we can make a few bucks at the end of the day. But do we know anything? No, nobody knows. Even the pundits don't know. All those guys on TV, the talking heads, they don't know. They don't know. They just got on there because for whatever reason. Everybody has to be somewhere sometime, right? So they're there and they don't know. In fact, I think if you go back and look at their records, you'll find that they don't know any more than anybody else. Anyway, I do know one thing though. I have spent, where is that thing? Where is that thing? There it is. Okay. I did spend my early years deep in the trenches with this thing. Okay. I discovered that I have to learn how to do things myself if I want to make some money in the market and secure my future and my kids' education. That was very important to me. And when I realized that it was not going to happen the way things were going along at that time, years and years ago, I realized I have to seize control of my own and my own accounts, my own future, my retirement savings accounts. And I did that, and I discovered a few things coming from insurance audit background. I knew a little bit about risk, and I was comfortable with numbers. Why can't I learn this myself? Who are these other guys? These guys walking around thinking they know everything. They don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. All right, that's the first key. Cool. And the other thing is when you're talking about dollars, right? Dollars and cents. I mean, there's a whole psychology behind this. What's good for one person isn't necessarily going to be good for somebody else. So if somebody says, "Well, this is good." Well, good for who? Good for you when? Even myself, I found that what my goals were 20, 30, 40 years ago were different than they are now. Right? Back then, my goal was to make a lot of money if I could, and the goal now is to keep it. Right? Keep it because retirement is here. Like I'm 70 years old, and a lot of people my age are retiring, and I'm not retiring. I'm not going anywhere. But I do want to make sure that me and my family are set for life, right? So you don't want to take as many risks, high risks as I would have 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago because I had plenty of time back then to recover. Anyway, I learned how to do this. I found some pretty cool strategies that worked for me. And I never had any intentions at all on starting this program, Day Trade Spy, and teaching other people how to trade. Nothing like that at all. Um, okay, there's a comment here. Drop your shades. I am going to drop my shades. This way I'll be able to see me better. Yes, I have a. I think it'll be better that way without the background light. There we go. That's a little bit better. Thanks for that suggestion here. Um, okay. So my intention was just to trade myself, right? Trade myself and make money myself. But people discovered that I was making some pretty good money, and friends, family, neighbors, associates, different things. Oh, you won a lottery or something? And, no, just trading. Well, they really forced me into showing them. They coerced me. They twisted my arm. I said, well, you got to show us. Here we're busting our butts here, working for the man and all this, and you're just kind of sitting at home now. You're retired. You're not working for an insurance company anymore. You seem to be getting all the toys very easily. And yeah, things are coming along pretty good. So anyway, I just for lark, I put up a website and posted what I was looking to trade every morning. Started with what was then the inner circle, and it's still going strong. And everything, in fact, everything is stronger than ever. And taught people how to trade, started a trading room, and it's still going strong. And we're now in our 16th year, if you can believe it. We didn't think it was going to last. Nobody thought it was going to last. This was supposed to have fizzled out in 2, 3 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months at the most. But instead, it just ballooned. It ballooned. It went up, and it like a mushroom. Like, holy geez, wait a second. People are telling their friends, and other people are coming. And anyway, long story short, here we are. I look for short-term breakout trades. And I got to tell you, I'm the real deal. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm the real deal. I'm going to call it the way it is. You might not always like what I have to say, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you the way I see it. And if I don't see it, very favorably for you, I'll tell you that too. I'll tell you, look at, I don't see the market going down, let's say, as an example. I see it going up, and you decide what you want to do. But if I was in calls that are going to expire in a day or two, I'd probably be looking to bail out of them if it was me. But anyway, that's, you be you, right? Anyway, that's what I do, and I've been teaching what I trade, trading what I teach, but now in our 16th year, if you can believe it. All right, now my sidekick. So what happened was in 2022, a couple of years ago, we got the attention of Eagle Financial Publications, right? And they bought us out and hired us back on, okay, and took over some administrative duties and marketing and whatnot. And they also brought on one of their other gurus, retired John Johnson. He's a retired lawyer. Yes, he has a lawyer, and he was a very successful, prominent lawyer in the oil and gas industry in Texas. And he's still in Texas, of course, but his background is in commercial litigation law. He developed his unique trading style more than 21 years ago, highly acclaimed in many publications and media, and he's helped thousands gain success in the markets. His philosophy is very simple. Take what the market gives you and just keep stacking it up. Okay, very good. And there it is right there. Sorry, I thought I had that up there. All right, so that's my buddy John. So every morning, John and I do the trading room. And we kind of split the responsibilities here. I'll do the Sunday nights, and he'll do the Wednesday night sessions for the inner circle. And together we make a pretty cool team. So, all right, couple little announcements here. Spy in the Market. This is our weekly newsletter that goes out. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. All you have to do is go to our website, DayTradeSPY.com, and when the pop-up comes up, leave us your email address, and you're going to get this sent to your inbox every Thursday. Now, I get it. You've got a million emails that are sent to you, but this one's actually pretty cool. It's a short read, about 3-minute read, and it's very, every week we talk about something different. Get a little a bit of a human aspect to it too, okay? Talk a little bit about my life. Boring. No, no, no. It's actually, there's some pretty exciting things there, and then some of my insights, right? Some of my thoughts, and sort of what's happened. So every week is a little bit different. And this week's topic is going to be Twilight on the Beach as I ponder why I teach. A little poetic there, right? Twilight on the beach as I ponder why I teach. In other words, I live on the beach. Okay, I've got a summer beach home, and being on the beach, we sit there and think sometimes, why do I teach? Why do I teach? Anyway, giving you a little insight into that, I think you'll quite enjoy that. So do register for that. Now, if you don't want to get the email, but you do want to see what these newsletters are all about, you can always go to our website, DayTradeSPY.com, and up at the top left, you will find a link that takes you to all the different newsletters that we had written over the last while. I think there's 80, 90 of them. Here's the website right here. Up here it says Spy on the Market. That is the newsletter. That's what it's called, Spy on the Market. Okay. So click on that, and then you'll be able to go back and get all of the various newsletters that we had written, and I had written, and it goes way back, and so there's a lot of good stuff here. Okay, a lot of good stuff. So anyway, that's the newsletter. All right. So next up, I want to tell you, folks, if you are in the neighborhood, do drop by. John and I are going to be at Freedom Fest, Palm Springs, California. And that's coming up in a couple of weeks, June the 11th to the 14th. And John and I are going to be there. In fact, we're going to be hosting a paid live breakfast, live trading breakfast. So you know how we do our live trading here? Well, we're going to be doing our live trading over there as well. Of course, it's going to be after the actual trading room, but I guess Eastern time is probably going to be about 11 o'clock or so. All right. But we're still going to be doing it, and we're going to teach you how we do it. I think we're going to be doing that one for a couple of hours, actually. It's going to be a long one. So it's going to be pretty exciting. So, but do come down there. It's going to be the Oasis of Liberty, Palm Springs, June 11th to the 14th. Freedom Fest. Google it if you want to know more about it. It's quite the event apparently. So now this is our first year there for John and myself, but that's going to be pretty exciting. We're going to be there. So let's take a look and see what happened here last week. This here is the chart of last week. Excuse me. And let's take a look here. Holiday Monday, Memorial Day, no trading. Everything was closed. On Tuesday, European Union agreed to fast-track tariff talks, and Trump agreed to delay European, sorry, on the European Union, I should fix this, EU, EU, all right, European Union, all right, until July the 9th. He's going to tag on a 50% tariff on the European Union. Everything from Europe, 50%. Oh my gosh. Anyway, S&P 500 snapped a 4-day losing streak. Nvidia soared before the earnings. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, court struck down Trump's tariffs. White House plan to appeal. Uncertainty overshadowed Nvidia's 5% jump after the Q1 revenue beat expectations, rising 69% over last year. That's what happened. On Thursday, the euphoria over Nvidia earnings shot SPY up in pre-market, but the appeals court temporarily paused the trade court's ruling that avoided most of the tariffs. Uncertainty roiled markets, bringing SPY back to key support. All right, things shot up pretty good. Hit a high of 598.31, just under 560. Sorry, just under 600 rather. And but the uncertainty is just a little bit too much for the market. The market doesn't like uncertainty. The market can handle good news and it can handle bad news. It's that uncertainty that it doesn't like. So Thursday wiped out that whole Nvidia thing, and I'm gonna be honest with you. When I saw Nvidia shoot up like that, I thought, yes, we got a really good day for the market. In fact, I was sitting in some calls myself, and I took a hit on those calls. When I saw Nvidia go up, I was elated. I thought, oh my gosh, this could be a triple. This could be a triple on some far out options on SPY because of Nvidia. And then, yet, no, no, no. We had the whole court thing and shot down Trump's thing, and it just went back and forth, like playing a game of whack-a-mole. And market came right back to some key support levels and sort of stayed there to wrap up the week, right? Trump announced plans to double the tariffs on steel and aluminum to 50%. I think he did that in a live event in Pittsburgh or something. S&P fell slightly, but May still finished with the biggest monthly gain since November 2023, despite the volley back and forth with what's going on over there. It's just been a nut. It's just a crazy, crazy time. All right. Anyway, that's what that is. So, looking at the seasonal charts, here's the seasonal chart, folks. All right, and you'll find the current price being the blue, and the average of the last 5 years daily closing price is the red line on the bottom over there. And if we zoom in, you'll find that historically, SPY rose about 7 points from last week, and going into the future, it rose about 5 points the following week as well. Okay, so if things continue the way they did in the past and what we see it coming up, we probably will see a move to the upside. And I think I had a question on that. Somebody emailed me on that. Where do I see the following week? Well, I would see the move back to the upside, barring any craziness out of the White House. So, and that's a big F, right? So, what happened last week? Markets were driven by the mega cap tech earnings and tariffs, and primarily being Nvidia, right? Nvidia had a really, really good results. This stock just seems to be going gangbusters. Was it $3.1 trillion value? $1 trillion value. Can you imagine that? What is $1 trillion? Let me just see. I actually had this the other day here. $1 trillion, $1 trillion. What it looks like. Okay, there was some really good analogies. Well, what is $1 trillion? Well, a trillion is a million million. A trillion is a million million. So what does it look like? Well, $1 trillion would stretch nearly from the Earth to the sun. All right. So if you were to take a dollar bill, attach them to each other, it would reach almost from the Earth to the sun. Here's another decimal, 1 trillion. Never mind 3 trillion, right? If you have a military jet flying at the speed of sound, reeling out rolls of dollar bills behind it, it would be 14 years before it reeled out $1 trillion. That's a lot of money. A lot of money, a lot of money, a lot of money. Okay, so I mean that gives you an idea, right? Gives you an idea what a trillion looks like. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, corporate earnings outperformed expectations, mostly positive, again from the tech and the health sector as well. Nvidia delivers solid results despite the overhang from the Chinese trade relations restrictions. They still did very well. Trade negotiations with China remain strained, adding to the uncertainty and volatility of the markets. And despite the ongoing uncertainty, the S&P 500 is still up 6% for May. and slightly positive for the year as well. So historically, a strong May forebodes a strong 12-month market performance. When you have a strong May, you can expect the rest of the year to be fairly strong as well. Tariff, of course, headlines continue, but investor fatigue may be settling in. They're saying, we're tired of the tariffs. Make a decision, up, down. What are you going to do with tariffs? Stop this on and off and on again. Here's what kind of things look like here. S&P 500 earnings growth is expected to be positive in 9 out of 11 sectors. Okay. Kind of a brief look at this here. And when you compare it to the sectors here, past performance, of course, does not guarantee future results. And but it looks like we've outpaced everything except consumer staples and energy. And to some degree here, of course, information technology, IT, and communication services. And healthcare. These are the strong ones. Okay. Here's the U.S. trade policy uncertainty. It's ticked a little bit higher in recent days, and you can see how we've been pushing higher and higher. And this is that uncertainty we've been talking about, and that's where markets tend to go down. There tends to be a sell-off whenever there's uncertainty in the markets. And things were getting pretty good here when they pulled back on the tariffs and sort of, put a hold on them for a while and relaxed them a little bit. But now, I think there's some talk about China reneging on some tariff talks or something, and of course the whole thing with steel and aluminum going up. So there's uncertainty there. So it's just popped up a little bit here in the last day or two. And here's an interesting chart here that returns are generally higher in the 12 months following a 5% or higher rally in May. And here are the years that we've had these rallies. And take a look at how much higher we've gone over the next 12 months. Average of almost 20% higher in the next 12 months. If your May is good, you can expect the next 12 months to be pretty good. Okay. Including to the end of the year, but for the next 12 months, we should have a good year. So we'll see what happens. So looks like things are moving to the upside. Okay, things are still going to the upside. Here's a look at the market stats. S&P rose 1.9% this week. Year to date, we're only up 0.5%, but it's still better than Dow Jones and the Nasdaq. They're still trending along in the minus territory here year to date, even though they showed a positive move to the upside here. Okay, so let me get this in here. Okay, there we go. Trying to line it up better. All right, so that's a look at the snapshot, look at the market stats. All right, moving along. I'm gonna do a poll here, folks. I like to do polls, just kind of discuss things and get your thoughts. So here's a poll. Did you make any money trading options this week? Please punch it up in the questions box. I want to get an idea how you guys did. Okay. Da, 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 da. Oh my gosh, Phil, thank you so much for that. Huh. Well, you always brought on the best. Okay, yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes. No. Yes. No. I lost badly. No. No. Did not trade. Yes. Oh, we got a good mix here. Okay. Yes. Yes. A good few yeses. Some nos. Lost. Melvin. Jeremy. Lost. No. Johnny. Johnny L. Johnny L's been with us for a long time here. But, okay, no, but holding on to Thursday's calls. I think you'll probably be all right there on that, Howard. I would hold on to it. You got an expiration, I believe, of June the 4th or something. Isn't that June the 4th or June the 6th? That's good news. Mark J, hugely successful. Good. John H, no. D's, boy, did not trade. Broke even. AB, yes, one down. No, holding. Holding some calls. Robert P. Okay. All right, broke even. Did not trade. Tiny bit $100, but looking forward to using the trade room this week to make some money. Okay. Did not trade this week. Yes, but holding on to Thursday's calls. Okay, yes, slightly. A, yes, slightly. No, lost. Yeah, there's an issue with the signal, wasn't there? Signal was a little on the negative side there. I think we're gonna tighten that up a little bit here. A, B, lots of, it's a good mix. All right, made some, then lost it. Yes, lost. Yes, made some money, still holding. Yes, yes, yes. No, did not trade. Yes, big time. Michael R. Yes, big time. Okay. All right, good. Well, I would say we got a pretty good mix here, folks. I can't lean on one or the other. Some people made money, some people lost money, some people broke even, and some people did not trade. So can't get a much greater mix than that. So thank you very much for those comments in there. All right, let's take a look at the week ahead. Monday, we've got manufacturing PMI reports, S&P Global, and who's the other one? Who is the other one? Let's see. Take a look at that. I should know this. Let's take a look and see who's reporting here. These uh, these numbers here on June. Final ISM Institute for Supply Management. That's it. Okay. So two companies reporting their PMI reports. PMI reports. These are the PMI is short for Purchasing Managers Index. What they do is they survey about 300 purchasing managers and they ask the respondents to rate the relative level of business conditions, including employment, production, new orders, prices, supplier deliveries, and inventories. That's what PMI is, okay? There's no better way they figure to get a feel for the economy than talking to purchasing managers. They would know, right? Also, on Monday, we have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking here, and he is, what's he going to do? That's going to be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Time, due to deliver opening remarks at the Fed Reserve Board of Governors International Finance Division's 75th Anniversary Conference in Washington, D.C. All right, now, whatever Powell says, markets react, right? So that's probably going to be an overriding sort of a event that's going to shape the markets. On Tuesday, we have the JOLTS job openings. JOLTS, that's also an acronym. It means job openings and labor turnover survey. Job openings and labor turnover survey. Okay, and this can also have an impact on the market because job openings are a leading indicator of overall employment. Okay, it's also an important leading indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for a majority of overall economic activity. That's coming up on Tuesday. That's kind of the important event on Tuesday. We don't report the minor events don't necessarily move the needle on the markets. Okay, but the major ones do. And then on Wednesday, we have the automatic data processing (ADP), non-farm employment change. And the services PMI report, final S&P Global, and um, PMI report. That's on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got unemployment claims, also an important indicator as to the health of the economy. And on Friday, we've got average hour earnings, non-farm, employment change, and also the unemployment rate, which they are expecting to come in at 4.2%, which is what it was the previous period. So that too is going to give us a good indicator as to the health of the economy. Okay. Those are the big news items as far as volatility. When you factor all this, expected to be high Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and also Thursday, drop down to medium on Friday. So there's going to be some good market moves, right? Good market moves this week. All right. Also, I should tell you, whenever President Trump speaks, expect volatility to be elevated. Trump trumps everything. Okay. It's funny how that works. Do you think the name came first or his character came second? I don't know. Um, but whenever he speaks, all the other economic news takes a second seat. And that's why sometimes it's difficult to sort of estimate what's going to happen. But I don't have him scheduled to speak, but usually they put him on the schedule sort of the last minute. Okay. And so keep an eye on that. And when you see his name come up, scheduled to say a few words, give one of his rallies. Oh, that corrupt Biden actually still campaigning. Oh man. All right, guy's gone. He's gone. Let him go, man. He's dying. Biden's dying. My gosh, leave him alone. Um, but whenever Trump speaks, okay, you're going to see market swings. Market swings, and depending, of course, on what he says. The funny thing is, last term, whenever he spoke, the markets would always go up. In fact, we actually used him as an indicator last time because it was a very reliable indicator. This time, not so much. Depends on what he says. Depends on what he says. So, but it does move the needle. All right, let's take a look, folks, here at our 2 minute tutorial. Our 2 minute tutorial. And I'm just going to give you a brief thing here. Sometimes people say to me, "Oh, Hugh, can you just show us what you traded?" I don't like to brag, and I'm not saying this to brag, so please forgive me if it sounds that way. It's not the intent. But I know sometimes people like to see, well, what are you doing here? What are you doing? You talk the talk, but do you walk the walk, right? So I'd have to say I do because that's what I do, right? I teach what I trade, and I trade what I teach. So I want to kind of give you just a brief look at what I did on Friday. I'm not going to go through the whole week because it'll bore you to tears. Even this is going to bore you. This is from Schwab Thinkorswim. Now, I'm not going to tell you how many contracts I traded, okay? That's something I keep to myself. I don't want to tell you how much money. But somebody made the remark because I was talking about my new car, and I think, I can't remember if Thursday or Friday or something. Somebody said, "Oh, you did you pay for the car yet?" I thought, you know what? Let's take care of that. Anyway, it's a BMW electric car. So anyway, so here's what I'm just going to go through this. This is all Friday's trades. I think there's 17 of them. So briefly here, I'm going to go through this. The first, and it goes from the bottom up, okay? Bottom up. 940, that was my first trade. This was in the trading room. Those people, for the first few trades here, the people in the trading room had witnessed that, okay? So the first trade, I picked up 15 cents, all right, 525 to 540 in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. My second trade, same thing. Another 15 cents, 470 to 485 in 14 minutes, 947 to 1001. 14 minutes. And next up was 19 cents in 1 minute, 1004 to 1005. That was a quick 19. Again, using John Johnson's, my trading room partner, his philosophy, take what the market will give you. And then my fourth trade came in right here at 1007 to 1012. Again, live in the trading room. The people in the trading room saw this, so they witnessed it live. Here's a trade, 5 minute trade for another 14 cents. And then I got back in at 1019, got out at 1022, 2 minutes. Actually, it should be 3 minutes. That should be, let's change that. That should be actually 3 minutes, not 2 minutes. I guess what's 1 minute? What's 1 minute among friends, right? And 13 cents in 3 minutes, right? There we go. 3 minutes. 10:17 at sorry. Oh no, that is 2 minutes. I'm lying to you. Oh my gosh. Okay, I made a mistake here. That is I was looking at the wrong thing here. That is 2 minutes, folks. 2 minutes. 10:17 to 10:19. The next one up was 4 minutes, 10:22 to 10:26, right? Another 14 cents from 5:31 to 5:45. You see the price right here on the right side, and these are over here. They're all calls. And the strike price is right here. All right, you'll find that they're probably going to be at the money calls. And you'll notice over here, expirations are a week out. They were all a week out except for one over here, which I did same day. I just did a same day one on that one, okay? But all the other ones were 1 week out. Okay, some safety there. The next trade I got in at 10:32 for 5 minutes, 6 cents. And then I picked up another dime in 15 minutes, 12:47 to 102. So I took a bit of a break for lunch here, late, sort of an early lunch. Got back into it at 12:47, and another 13 cents in 2 minutes, 104 to 106. Another 1 minute trade here for 16 cents, 564 to 580. Got back into the game at 108, got out at 109, and jumped back in at 110 for another 9 minute trade for another 11 cents. 564 to 575. These are real trades, by the way. There's nothing simulated about this. This is real money, real trades, real dollars, lots of dollars. 561 to 575 in 15 minutes for 14 cents. And I got back in at 226 for another 1 minute trade. Look at that. Actually, this was not even 1 minute. 37 seconds. I I couldn't in my calculations, I couldn't really get under 1 minute easily. So I just make that a 1 minute trade. So I cheated myself out of a few seconds there. But this was 14 cents in 37 seconds. That's the power of scalping. That's why like these are scalp trades. They're using the bread and butter setup, using the scalp trades. Okay. And then I jumped back in, took a bit of a break there for coffee. 301, wrap up the day. 13 cents in 2 minutes. And another one, 11 cents in 3 minutes from 305 to 308. Two more trades to wrap up the day. 14 cents in 5 minutes. And another 12 cents in 6 minutes to finish up the day at 325. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 trades, folks. 17 trades. So what does this look like? Well, if each trade was only 10 contracts, okay, if each trade was only 10 contracts, and if each trade was only 10 contracts, then the total gain would have been $2.24 or a profit of $2,240 less commission. Okay. My average investment was $5.12. So $5,120 was the average buy price. The average time per trade was 5.7 minutes. And again, except for that one trade in there, they all had 1 week to expiration. All right. Real trades, real money. And a lot of fun too. A lot of fun. All right. So let's take a look and see just how. Now I didn't put the indicators in here. I'm not going to give away the keys to the farm here um, because that's something you have to really learn. Okay. But just take a look at some of the trades that I done. Well, these are the trades that I had done. This is how this is how fast they happen. And by the way, they're all on calls. And you'll notice that if you go back to that day, that actually the market closed down on Friday. So, but I picked up all my trades onto the upside. Okay, here they are: 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, some of these trades are very quick. In fact, most of them are very, very quick. And taking us up to, I'm just writing it up. So there's a certain setup that I'm looking at. And again, I'm not going to teach that. That comes in the training. So there's a certain setup that I'm looking at and I'm following very, very well. And I'm taking that right up here into the day here. So 10:45, that's I thought I'll take a lunch break. Take a lunch break. Then I came back and look at that. We had a big drop here from about 588 and change down to what is this? 583.25, 583.50 in a matter of a very short period of time. So I patiently waited out and I saw a chart pattern forming that I really liked, and I did another trade here. These are the trades, and if you go back and match them all up, you'll see these are the trades that I had done. Very short time frames, right? 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute trades, and there they are there. So, and then I get back in here. There's a bit of a gap in here, the time wise I guess for some reason the data feed did not record this time here, but I took this baby up from here to there, and I did another trade up here at the top. And that came in around what, I don't know, 220 or something, whatever it was. And then just one final period at the end of the day here. Took a coffee break, and then I got back into the trade here at what is that, about 303, 301, 303. Did another couple of trades in here and moved it up here. And there's the fourth trade to wrap up the day here at 319 to 325. So this is just to show you how the scalps work and how they're very short time frames. and we're going for small gains. But when you add up these gains, you come up with some pretty good money. You get some pretty good returns here. And that's what it's all about. It's like building a house, brick by brick by brick by brick. You don't, when you build a house, you don't think, oh, I gotta build a big wall and then another wall and another wall. That could be very overwhelming, right? And you're thinking, how am I ever going to do this? And what am I going to do? You know, and who do I call it? But if you build it brick by brick, right, and the strength is in the, you know, in the brick and the mortar in between the bricks, and it all kind of works together, and it supports itself, and eventually you have the house, right? And that's the way this works too. So I like to build up my account little by little, and trades like this. So when you pick up, we have a saying, a dime at a time is just fine. A dime at a time is just fine. So let's say you were to uh, spend some money, and by the way, when you're trading a week out, you're going to see volatility, and you're going to see some pretty good moves on these options. Sometimes people say to me, "Well, how can you day trade SPY? How do you day trade? You know, is there enough movement?" I said, absolutely there is. These prices, even a week out, they're gonna bounce pretty good, right? They're gonna bounce pretty good. So as you can see, it doesn't take much to make some pretty serious money in the market. And when you have a dime or 12 cents or 15 cents, grab it. Grab it. Then wait for the next pullback. Get in again. Get in again. Grab the next one. Grab the next one. Grab the next one. And before you know it, you've got yourself a nice little bag of cash with not a bad investment per trade. All right. What did I say? Let's go back for a second. 5,000. Somebody's asking about this here. Here you go. $5,120 a trade. That's not so bad. I mean, I'm sure many of you have that facility where you can do that and just go in for a few minutes at a time and buy time. I mean, that's really where it's at, right? Anyway, that's enough of that. There it goes. Wow, that was a good day. All right, so I've got some secrets for you. Secrets to success. Okay. Pay attention to the markets. Pay attention to the charts. That's all I did there. I paid attention. The market provides opportunities all the time. And if you miss one, by the way, don't worry about it. There's another one right around the corner. Okay. There's another opportunity right around the corner. Just pay attention to what's happening and then move with the market. Don't try and go against the market. Pick up the correct option. I mentioned earlier I got a week out for most of them, except for the one I did a week out at the money options. That's where you're going to see some pretty good moves. That's what I like to do. Okay, uh, wait for the proper setup. That proper setup. That's what we teach in our master class course that's coming up. Wait till that proper setup presents itself, and it presents itself all the time. Make sure you have ample firepower. This is money in reserve. By that I mean make sure you're well funded. All right, so that you're not putting all the pressure that, oh, this trade has to work or I lose my house. You don't want to ever be in a trade. You never want to be in a, you know, money management is key. You never want to invest more than you can afford to lose because you never know what's going to happen. When you're in a trade, you know, your money is in a state of flux. It can go up, it can go down. All right, but you want to, you know, put the odds in your favor. And you also want to make sure you have enough runway. By that I mean, as an example, as a pilot, we like to land on runways. Just very nice that way, right? It's, it's nice to have a runway. Um, but you want to make sure that the runway is clear. The last thing you want to do is come down, barreling down on a runway, and all of a sudden there's an obstacle in the way, a snowplow or a truck or something. Oh my gosh, hey, that's not going to work, right? So you want to make sure there's nothing in the way. And you know, I like to fly into farmers' fields on the weekends for breakfast or whatever, and you know, before we land, I always like to do a low and over. Make sure the runway is cleared of animals in particular. A lot of coyotes and fox they like to sunbathe on the runways. So you have to scare them off because it can get pretty messy if you know, you land on the runway and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, there's a coyote that's looking up at you like, hey pal, what are you doing in my territory? You know, they're so conceited, those guys. They're gonna look at you like you're in the fault, you're in the wrong. So you have to chase them away with your engine, and then you go back around, and then you land, right? When it's clear. So that's what I mean by the stock too. Make sure there's ample room for the stock to grow into so that your money can mature. All right. You want to have you want to make sure that you have plenty of room for your option to mature. The one thing you don't want to do is buy, say, a call option, and then, 8 or 10, 12 cents later, you've got a major resistance level that you have to deal with because it could bounce off that resistance down, and now you're stuck holding the bag because you got in, well, you didn't really have that much room up there to let your option mature, right? So these are all things that you need to assess before you actually enter the trade. And of course, at the end, you have to trade with confidence and patience, right? So when the setup is there, when you have that room, when you know what your exit's going to be, what your entry and exit is going to be, and how you're going to exit. Now, your exit might be, okay, I'll pick up a dime, or I'll pick up 12 cents, or I'll exit when I hit that resistance level, or I'll exit when I hit that neckline in that chart pattern, or whatever. Understand where your exit's going to be, right? So we have all of this there. I mean, these are the secrets. Well, there's nothing really else here. I mean, I'm sure there is, but the key, these are all key things, and then trade with confidence. Go in with the belief that it's going to work out. Now, there was one or two of those trades I did on Friday where the market went down against me in the interim, but I paid it, patiently waited it out, and it came back and gave me my profit because I was pretty confident that it was going to come back and take me out that way. So here's the key. If you lack any of these, then you really need to enroll in our masterclass, folks. And you got to kind of do it soon because the masterclass starts on Tuesday. All right. It actually starts on Tuesday. So what I suggest here is, get with the program right away, like first thing tomorrow morning. Okay. By the way, $50,000 challenge. This is a challenge we started back on January the 6th. We're looking to make $50,000. We're halfway there. All right, we are halfway there. Now, I suspect we're going to beat the $50,000 because we had some setbacks here, but we're actually coming up pretty good. Except for this one loss we had a couple days ago, we're actually well on the way. And when we get aggressive with this program, we actually do very well. So I think we're going to get back in the black here this week and move the needle back up. But we're trending back up very nicely, and I'm pretty confident we're going to hit the 50,000 well in advance of the end of the year. It is June the 1st. I guess we're on track for that. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. So it's coming along pretty good. All right, so folks, imagine yourself in control of your financial future, financial security. This is what we're talking about here, okay? And recession, if there's a recession, who really cares? So we talk about the markets going up, we talk about the markets going down. The S&P is up 0.5% this year. The Dow and the Nasdaq are both down. So anybody who with longer term investments, mutual funds, or any of those things, they're probably thinking, well, my investments aren't doing very well. We don't really care because we're doing short-term trades. We're in and out multiple times a day, racking up a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. Who cares if there's a recession? We can make money both going up and down. And I enjoy making money in the morning and doing other things in the afternoon. Now, admittedly, Friday I had to pay attention to the market, so I just stuck close to my computer there. Okay, but other times I like to go hang out with the grandkids, go hang out with my wife, do something, go bicycling, go flying or sailing or whatever I want to do. Go down to the beach, um, whatever you want to do, right? Go for a drive, whatever. It's about doing what you want to do when you want to do it with whoever you want to do it. That's the definition of success. Having the time and the resources to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. All right. Everybody else who continues working, right? They're trading dollars for hours, right? They're trading hours for dollars, and they're beholden to a boss. We were joking the other day in the trading room that, our bosses are half our age. But we take it in stride now, we just have fun with it. But you don't want to be beholden to a boss or anybody else. Customers, they're all your bosses. Even if you have your own business, Oh my goodness, you don't have one boss. You've got many bosses. All your customers are going to be your bosses, whether it's a clock or obligations or whatever. Isn't it nice to trade, make a lot of money, make enough money, do the things that you want to do, have all the material things that you want, being able to help others if that's what you want, your kids, your grandkids, put them through school, whatever it is. As again, my fellow Eagle guru John Johnson says, being able to do what you want when you want. That's his definition of success. And I think that's a pretty damn good definition. All right, let's take a look at it. Introducing you now, the Day Trade Spy Masterclass. The Masterclass. We talked about this the other day. I don't know if any of you have been in those webinars that we had done. We muddled through those pretty good. And there's no more of those. And I think they had the last chance type of thing. But I'm going to push the envelope on this one a little bit for any last minute stragglers. All right. I'm going to suggest to you that, and I'm going to talk about this, that if you can still get in, you should do this first thing tomorrow and email. I'll give you the guy's email address. All right. Because I got a feeling they're not going to refuse you. All right. Now, we did not discuss that I'm going to be promoting this tonight, but because we are going to be starting the Day Trade Spy Masterclass on Tuesday, I figure, well, I'll give you a last day here in which to still, enroll. So you're going to learn everything we do. No stone left unturned. Okay. And you should be able to, after you take the course, you should be able to make those trades like I did on Friday without breaking a sweat. Okay. That's the key. Without any anxiety. All right, no stress. Just, get in, place the trade, make money, wait for the next one, get in, make some money. You know, before you know it, the end of the day is there, and that's when you go back and you count how much you made and say, wow, this was a really good day, right? Let's do it again tomorrow and the next day and the day after, right? Folks, we're going to have 8 online weekly classes. It's all going to be on Tuesday at noon. Now, I think there's going to be 2 weeks in there. They're not going to be Tuesdays. I believe that, let me take a look here. I believe that on it's going to be June the 9th on the Monday, and the next week it's going to be on June the 18th, which is the Wednesday. And that's only because John and I are going to be traveling to Palm Springs. Okay. But all the other days it's going to be on Tuesdays. John and I are hosting these ourselves, in addition to the 8 online weekly classes. Each is going to be an hour to 2 hours in length and possibly a little longer. I'm not really sure, but that's kind of what you should probably budget. We're also going to have 4 labs, and they're going to be interspersed. So we're going to have 2 training sessions in a lab, 2 training sessions in another lab, and that's what we're going to review, interactive, they're learn and earn sessions, and that's where you're going to take up all that material that you had learned up until then. Okay. Hosted by myself and John, and kind of also, of course, it's going to be recorded for later review. You're going to get the recordings. Okay. Here's what you get. Options 101, the trader's blueprint, technical analysis and fundamental analysis, scalping framework. That's that thing I just showed you a little while ago. Our bread and butter setup, the OMG, out of the morning gate deep dive, Fibonacci mastery. This is what John likes to use, and market lifestyle. He'll be hosting these events. Repairing trades gone wrong. We all have bad trades once in a while. You got to know what to do with those guys, know when to get out of them or to stay in them. And of course, going to give you the trader's plan as well. All right. Included in that, of course, is going to be some money management techniques. Also, what you're going to get, the 4 labs, which each training and lab sessions, again, 1 to 2 hours in length. Going to get all your questions answered, and you are expected to master day trading options on SPY. Now, this is an incredible program, and I would, frankly, I would not sell it for as low as they are. Okay, because years ago we would be getting 5, 6, $1,000 and more for these, and even then it was a steal. But again, you must do it now. They are offering it. Eagle is offering it at an unbelievable price of only $19.95, or you can pay it in 3 monthly installments of $6.99 each. I mean, that is just phenomenal. Okay. I'll tell you, I sure wish I had this program when I learned to do this, because I'd have been all over this. No, no, no thinking about it. Nothing to consider. I'd have been all over this. $19.95 or three monthly installments of $6.99 each for this amazing masterclass series. Okay. All right. For complete details, now here's what I'm going to do. Contact Grant. Here's his email address. GLN Grant Linares at eaglepub.com. I'm put this in the chat box. All right, so on your Zoom dashboard, you should have a chat box. If you don't have it, go to, I don't know if it's more or one of those links where you can enable your chat box. It is in your chat box. Copy that or write it down. Just write it down and email Grant and tell him you want in on this masterclass training program and to get you set up with it. And then he'll take care of you. Okay. Very, very, very important. Okay. All right. So, and I'm going to put that up on the board in a little bit here. I remember seeing this somewhere and I thought this is so cool. I got to put it up here. Folks, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Nobody is going to hand you, all right, nobody's going to hand you the tools. Nobody's going to hand you $1 million. Nobody's going to hand you anything in this life. You have to go and earn it. Okay. You have to go and earn it. You have to make the effort. And if you make the effort, there are a lot of people that'll be right there with you and help you along, right? But you have to make that effort. Folks, again, now let's go back to some questions here. And again, I will put that email address up in a little bit here. But I want to get to people's questions here first. Okay. Okay. Um, Jim's asking about reporting on how we did with all the services for the week. That would be helpful. Okay, so um, we actually report on our services every day in the inner circle. We have a follow-up report as to what we actually did. Okay, so if you subscribe to the inner circle, you are going to get a day-by-day analysis of what we did. Um, I think if I put it on here, I'll probably put most of you to sleep with with all of the details on that, Jim. So as you're in the inner circle, if you're in the inner circle, that's where you're going to get the follow-up reports later in the day. Usually in the late afternoon, early evening, or something. That's kind of where we do it. So um, Melvin's asking, are these 6%? Melvin, are you referring to what I showed you in the chart there of what I did? No, they're not necessarily 6%. In fact, it's not a percentage at all. I'd be going in with, say, a $5,000 or $5,200 trade on average and picking up a few cents, 10, 15, 20 cents, that type of thing. As a percentage, it's very low under that. But by snagging a few cents on each trade, that's the way I build up my account, right? So, what's the question? How much was the cost for one day? I'm not sure you understand the question, Philip. The cost for one day. The master class is not being offered per day, that I understand it, or per course. You're taking sort of the whole course. Now, many of you are familiar with options. I'm going to admit to you that options 101 may not be where you want to start, although I would still recommend that you just sit through it because there's going to be a lot of things that are being thrown out there, and maybe things that you don't know, or maybe it's sort of new but didn't think was important, or nuances that are kind of key, and you'll kind of miss them. So the best way to take this course is for the first time when you're going through it, when we're doing it live, is don't take notes. Don't take notes yet because it's going to be very fast. There's going to be a lot of information thrown at you. Okay. And we're not going to stop so everybody can take detail notes, okay? And it will be there forever. But the thing to do would be this. Note the times in the webinar. So, okay, 10 after the hour, okay, and go back to that. 14 after the hour, go back to that. Note the times so that when you get the recording, you can go back to those times and review what we talked about. So that's probably the best way. And then of course go back and review and then let it absorb. Okay. All right. Still need a large account to hold for one day. How much money is needed for scalps? Okay, so for those scalps, um, you'll want to be able to day trade. Okay, so you want to have um, either enough capital in your account, all right, so that you can, if you're using a cash account, or have the $25,000 in all of your accounts so that you have that funding. Okay, um, if you don't have the funding, you can't really day trade. You can go in and out using the $25,000 rule. You can go in and out 3 times in a 5-day period. And so what they're trying to do is discourage that day trading so you don't blow up your account and you're gone. Because that's what used to happen before they came with that rule. People would have a couple $1,000 and they think that, oh, I'm going to be a big day trader and I'm going to make all this money and stuff. And in 2 seconds flat, it's evaporated, right? Um, so they want to make sure that you have ample funding in your account. So do that, and make sure you're set up for that. Then you can scalp. If you don't have that, you can still do it, like I say, 3 times in a round trip, three times in a 5-day period. You can do that, or go with a cash account. Then you can trade as much as you want. So you may not want to trade 10 contracts. You might even do 2 or 3 contracts at a time. Initially, the idea is to just get good at it, get consistent with it, and then the money will come and then ramp it up as you get more money. Okay. All right. 5K to 20K. Sam's asking here. 5K to 15K. Not really sure what the question is on that one here. So I don't really understand it. 1 o'clock looking a little rough. Do mutual funds still exist? I don't know. I don't know if anybody has any mutual fund. I think they do. Maybe they don't. Let's see. Do you ever trade rot too high? I don't understand the question. I only trade SPY, all SPY all the time. Nothing else. Let's see. Do you give any credit for classes you've taken and paid for? Don, good question here. That is something you should probably take up with Grant. Okay, so if you've already taken classes and you're already in some programs, some subscriptions, I believe Grant may give you credit for that. Okay, so you want to check with him on that. Okay, and that would be a good thing. And I know some people did get some credits on previous classes or whatever they did or subscriptions that they have already. So because there's some key bonuses in there, you're going to find like 3 months in the inner circle and 3 months in the trading room or something. So, all right, what are the 2 dates that changed to Monday and Wednesday? So it is going to be Monday. At least this is what the schedule is now. You'll get an updated schedule when you subscribe here, when you enroll. So instead of the 10th of June, which is Tuesday, we're going to be doing it on the Monday, which is the 9th. And then the following week, we're going to do it on the 18th, which is the Wednesday. Okay. And that will facilitate us going down to Palm Springs to do the program down there. So again, it's going to be Monday the 9th and Wednesday the 18th of June. Okay. So that's that. All right. Will the master class be offered again? My time won't let me be able to attend, won't let me able. So here's what I would do there, Sam. I would still take it and get the recordings. Even if you're not there, you'll still get the recordings, okay? I don't know when the master class will be offered again. Um, it's been, I think, a couple of years that we offered it, or at least a year. So we'll see what happens. All right. Anyway, folks, it's 9:04. I didn't mean to keep you as long as I did. I mean, I tend to try and go a little longer all the time, but I'm trying to keep it down to a little over an hour, not too much over an hour. All right, no other big questions there. All right, folks, there is the information for Grant again. All right, and again, it's in the chat box. If you can copy that or just write that down, and then in fact, I'm going to give you the whole song here, give you an opportunity to do that. Write that down, folks, and get in touch with Grant first thing tomorrow, okay? Because the session starts on Tuesday. Been a pleasure, folks. Good night, everybody.
Shout Give it all to you, and trust the process to keep your eyes on the bright side.